Good evening. Good evening. Hello, this is Shiver Hammonds with the evening chat, and I would like to thank everyone that is tuning in to evening, this evening's chat. Today, I have a guest. Could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Ali Mubarak Abdul Kafid.
And Mr. Ali, where are you from? Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm from the good old state of Georgia. Raised
Georgia.
there most of my life, you know. Now I'm just out and about, trying to make a living like everybody else.
That's cool. That's what's up. And so, usually here on the evening chat, I like to take and interview people just to find out what's going on, not only here at ODU, Old Dominion University campus, but also what's going out in the community. And so, Mr. Abdul, from the great state of Georgia, are you from the ATL?
Nah, I'm from down 912, Jessup, Georgia.
Jessup. Where is that?
It's about 45 minutes from Savannah, down
So,
by the coast. Yeah,
oh, I've heard about Savannah. They have some good seafood.
the best. I was just down there this weekend. Good Lord, there's some good food down there.
Oh my God, I've heard a lot about the seafood. Like, you can't go wrong with the shrimp.
Can't go nothing wrong with nothing down there.
Is it true that you all eat a lot of shrimp and grits?
That's like morning breakfast right there. That's a whole
Like
day right there.
breakfast, lunch, and dinner
Breakfast, lunch, dinner, midnight snack. You can't go wrong with shrimp and grits.
with some hot sauce on the side?
Yeah, if you like the hot sauce on the side, better just dab a little on the top.
Oh my God. So, Abdul,
You can
uh,
call me Ali. Everybody call me Ali. You call me
Ali.
Abdul, I'll be looking around for
I'm
somebody
so
else.
sorry. Oh my God. Ali.
Yeah, just call me Ali. That's what
Okay.
everybody call me.
And so, Mr. Ali from the big state of Georgia. And this show is about being able to learn from different aspects and about different faiths, not only just about faiths, but about what the community has to offer. And so, Mr. Ali, I basically what happened is that I went to the mosque here on campus, and I'm interested to know more about what Islam is about because I want to broaden my horizons and to learn as much as I can from everyone. And so, what I really want to know, what is intriguing to me, is what influenced you to want to become a Muslim.
All right. Well, first I should have started off this way anyway. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Mawlana Muhammadin. I mean, give send some blessings on our holy prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's how I like to start anything on my day anyway. And with me, I would say it might be a little different for some people because a lot of people ask me if I became a Muslim in jail, which I don't know why I haven't really been to jail, but
Why
I
would
was.
they ask that?
I don't know. It's what I get all the time. But no, I was actually born and raised a Muslim.
Where, where are your parents from?
My parents are from Philadelphia,
Interesting.
so
A
I
lot
was.
of Philadelphians I begin to find are moving to other faiths rather than what's common for the U.S. Like they're moving to the faith of Islam.
Well, that's everybody's got to go on their own journey. Cause like I
Hmm.
said, I was born and raised a Muslim, but as a young man, I had my own questions and things that I had to seek out. So it's people out there in the world that know me now to tell you, call you, say, Ali, you talking about crazy Ali? But then they also know the journey I've been through that to get me to where I'm at now that I can say this is my faith, this is what I believe in from the journey I went on.
I've also realized that I guess through my life is that you learn the most or something has the most substance when you have to work hard and sacrifice for it. Would you say that's true for you?
Yeah, when you have to, whatever you work hard for, whatever you determined to get, that's what's gonna mean a lot to you because you put that
Mm.
effort, all that sweat, all those hours shaking yourself to death trying to get to where you're going. So when you finally accomplish that goal, you can sit back and say, "Oh man, look at what all my hard work put in."
I would like to earn all those efforts without the hard work. I think I would still have the same gratitude.
Yeah, but it wouldn't, hold that same value. It's just like when somebody gives you something, you're appreciative of it. But then when you go out and you have to work hard and earn that, imagine, you just think of how many times you've done that and be like, man, all that work I put in, I'm so glad, versus somebody handing me that, and you're like, oh, thank you. And it's just a thank you.
Yeah, my mom, she used to take and make me wait for something. So we would go window shopping like I was little, and it was so much fun to go to the mall and to go to the toy store and to look at the possibilities of what type of toy I can get. And for me, I loved Barbies. I loved Barbie horse, the Barbie dolls, the Barbie cars, dollhouse, pets and animals. And I would go around and she'll tell me that I can pick out whatever I want. And so I'll be like, I want that doll or this house or that car. And she'll be like, okay, well, if you do good in school and make good grades, then you can get it. And I'm like, what? Then why did you take me here? Why did you bring me here to look at all the plethora of things that I can choose from and get? And I think she tried to teach me that things, if you want something, you have to work hard for it.
Yeah.
And things just don't come easy.
Yeah, you gotta earn it.
Yeah.
I mean, same thing in regular life as an adult.
Yeah.
You might see a car you like or whatever. You just can't walk out there and get it. You gotta go to work. You gotta do everything to earn it.
It was like a tease. It's like, how you get a horse to go, you dangle a carrot in front of the horse. That's kind of like how it was for me. Like, why are you telling me that I could have something? But it wasn't that she wasn't denying me the ability to have it. She was just telling me that if you work hard for it, bring up your grades, and you do well. I guess I was mischievous as a kid, and I would always talk a lot in class. And so sometimes I would get bad marks, and that encouraged me to not talk so much in class, to listen to the teacher, and also my grades improved. And at the end of the week, I got my little Barbie doll.
See, it all panned out for you right there.
Yeah, yeah. So with saying that, how would you say your faith has influenced you that way on your journey?
Yeah, I mean, my faith is. I mean, there's a lot to say about that because I've been, just from what I learned growing up as a Muslim and then being out there on my journey to get back to where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like learning that faith is everything, for the reasons that I even began my journey, because I had too much trust in people. And when people let me down, that's when I thought faith let me down.
But you said you grew up as a Muslim.
Yeah. I was born and raised a Muslim. And once I got a certain age, and I started having questions of my own and thinking on my own and everything, and it got to that point where people were letting me down. And, I was young and I didn't know much then. So I felt like people was letting me down, that my faith was letting me down, because it was those same people that some of them I thought highly of and, thought very good of. And then when I felt left down by those people, I felt that part of my faith had let me down, when that definitely wasn't true.
Then how did you know that your faith haven't let you down? How did you find that out?
I found that out being on my journey, going through different situations, being in, being at the darkest moment, down without a dollar, and, finding myself praying. Like, who am I praying to? And if I'm sitting here praying, you know what I'm saying? Why am I not doing what I'm supposed to be doing? As a Muslim, why I'm sitting here, down, dollarless, at the bottom of the barrel, on dark streets, praying, oh, Allah, help me, please, and not doing what I'm supposed to do as a Muslim. And then the more I found myself getting down praying, like, oh, help me, the more it opened my eyes, the more I was able to see.
And I've noticed that you said a lot, that you prayed a lot. For you, I know very little about prayer, and that you all have to face Mecca. Did it matter for you when you were down in the dumps where you prayed?
Yeah, when you down in the dirty, like we say, man, when you down in that dirty, you just it ain't even you're not even praying traditionally how you pray. You just down on your knees asking God, just like anybody would of any faith. You on your knees saying, "Oh Lord, help me, get me out of this. Give me $2 to get some chips. Give me
Yeah.
something, Lord, look out for me." You know. And it's the same way with anybody, any faith. When you down in the dirty, you know, you start praying. But
And
why not do what you're supposed to do before you get down there low?
yeah, that's what's interesting is because what I'm taught in schools is like the technicalities of faith and the theories of not just faiths but other theories like ethics, morality, organization, and to hear how you're explaining what you went through and how your faith has brought you closer to God, I think that there's a practicality that there is to everything. And the more philosophical we become, the more we cover up our true intentions and our motives. And it just becomes foggy and haze. And that's why I wanted to invite you to the show to interview you because I don't want to get lost in the haze or in the fog. I want to understand what what it is to that keeps people going, and what is the authenticity of a faith. So I really appreciate you for being honest and
Yeah,
telling your story.
no problem. Like I say, when you take everything out, 'cause like I said before, I let people let me down. And that's part of the philosophical of everything, you know. Those people let me down, so I was looking at it at that whole big, broad view
Hmm.
instead of taking the view from that big, broad view to my own single vision.
It reminds me of a quote that I saw. It goes, "No matter how tall your grandfather is or how tall your father is, you still have to do your own growing." And I think that kind of like mirrors exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Like your parents seem to have a very strong foundation in their faith, but no matter what they taught to you, you still have to experience for yourself why it's important to you, right?
Yeah, that's certainly that's the same thing that's going as the earning stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get out there, and what I would tell anybody is don't take nobody's point of view because everybody has different experiences. Everybody's been through different things. So go find the truth for yourself. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Go read for yourself. Go look it up for yourself. Don't take nobody else's opinion. Go find it yourself. And when you find it yourself, you'll realize what the real truth is.
That's true. And that leads to my next question. So I told you I had a set of questions. And what I want to understand and learn from you is what what do you value, and how has your faith helped you to have these values?
My values, my kids, doing right. You know,
And what
those are
exactly is right for you?
for me, when I say doing right, most people
Mhm.
think of just as a sense of religiously doing right, but it's more than that. It's helping out my fellow man. I don't care what religion you are. If you down, you know, my faith binds me. Hey, if you hurting and you ask me for help, I'ma help out. I'ma come and do good because as a Muslim, that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to do good. I'm supposed to spread love.
That's true. And so what would be your truth for you?
The truth for me is knowing that I went on this entire journey, and even though, you know, I know I fail, I know I fall, I know I struggle, but I also know as long as my heart is sincere, that Allah is forgiving, Allah is
Mm.
merciful, and He's kind. And nothing, nothing in this world, nothing anywhere is possible without Him. So I'm going to do my due diligence and prayer to Him, you know, and thank Him because without Him, I'm nothing.
So I'm completely stealing this quote from someone that I know, and he talks about integrity. I would like to say that these are my own words, but they're not. And what he said about integrity is that, let me see, do I have it written down? And basically, it's not about you making a mistake, because everyone's going to make mistakes. Integrity is when you understand, hey, a mistake has been made, and you try to make the corrective action to make it right. And it sounds like that's what you have. Like, you don't try to live a perfect life. You understand where you went wrong, and then you try to correct it and be a better example for your children.
Yeah, you know, that's part of learning.
Yeah, because
Learning.
you're going to make mistakes.
Yeah, it's part of learning, you know, and not making excuses. That's one of my biggest things I believe in. You can't, you know, when people, oh, I'm sorry,
Mm-hmm.
you know, don't be. Don't make excuses. Oh, I didn't do this because. Nah, just recognize what you did and own it. Learn from it and move on.
That's true. Let's see. Um, and and you talk a lot about journey. For you personally, what is your end point? Where is the final destination for your journey?
For me, my destination, my final destination for my journey is paradise. Just as anybody should be, you know. There's nothing in this world is promised. And we're all
It
looking
sounds like Rihanna's song.
we're all looking forward
Mm.
to that afterlife, no matter what religion you are. We're all looking forward to trying to get to paradise. That's why we pray. That's why we do good. And at the end of my journey, that's where I'm set to be. You know, that's where I like to be. 'Cause I know I still got a lot of forgiveness to ask for, probably a whole lot of praying, but you know, that's
I
it.
think for me, every day that ends in a Y, I always have to ask for forgiveness because there's always something wrong I'm doing. But, and I don't know if I've had asked this already, but how has your faith impact your life and your perspective? Like, what is your perspective of life after going on this journey and realizing that Allah is God?
You know, my whole life perspective now is, you know, I tell everybody, people ask me like, don't bother ask, say, how are you having a good day? Tell them, ain't no such thing as a bad day. You know what I'm saying? Oh, time going slow. Why you think time gonna stop for you? Time been the same since the beginning of time. Just understanding little things like that you should always wake up happy. If you know in your heart you're doing what's right and you believe it, there should never be a such thing as a bad day. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you should always give thanks and be thankful. Like when people say, "Oh, I didn't get this, I didn't get that." Oh, when I don't get something I'm trying to get and I know I don't work hard for it, you know, I'll be like, "Oh, thank you, Allah." And
You
people
say
say,
thank you for that?
"Yeah, because that may not be meant for me, and He keeping me from that. I worked hard to get it, and then I don't get it. I'm not gonna be too down. So I'm like, oh, but you know, I ain't gonna be too down and out about it
Mm-hmm.
because that may be my blessing. The law saying, oh, that's not meant for you. Now you know you can work hard and do things that you want to do. Learn the lesson from this. That what you was trying to get ain't meant for you. And when we realize that, you know, we'll understand a lot more. So I say thank you for keeping that, because that might not have been my blessing. That might have been something that was harmful to me, and it was kept away from me. So thank you.
That's a good perspective. Interesting. And you talked about your final destination of your journey is to reach paradise. What about the life in between? What's your what do you want from life? What's your expectations?
My what I want from life now is a lot simpler now because I done been through what I've been through, and most people laugh. I was talking to one of my people the other day, and we had the same question. I was like, man, I just want a garden and some goats. I'm
Some
good.
goats?
Yeah, I don't
Why?
know why goats, but I like the simplicity
Yeah.
of gardening. You know,
Like, what would you want to garden?
I do everything from
Interesting.
cucumbers, carrots, because if you take gardening into the bigger picture and think about it, think about how much work you got to put into a garden. Think about how much nurturing and stuff you have to put in the garden for them fruits to grow.
That's a lot of work.
And if you don't tend to that garden dies.
So you like to be productive and seeing the fruits of your labor.
Yeah, that's all it's about. So this gardening, and that's gardening is what we doing pretty much every day.
How?
If you got kids,
Mm,
if
yeah.
you going for something, you tending to those things in order to get something fruitful out of it that you can use.
Hmm. Interesting.
You know what I'm saying? You can't if you go to your job and you sit there, you don't do nothing and everything, your job dead. You ain't got no job no more. But if you go to your job and you tend to the needs of it and you do everything, they give you that fruitful check.
And here I am thinking that if I can just do enough and then just skate by,
Yeah,
I've seen so many people do that.
yeah. But you see the people who just do enough are never happy. Or they do enough and they never rise to the rank that they want to get to because they simply doing enough to skate by. But if they tended and did what they needed to do to excel, then they rise.
True. True enough. What happens if that is flipped? Like, you go to work, you do what you're supposed to do, and then you see this person come in late all the time. They do just enough, or they don't even do their job, but yet you see them rise to the rank. Like, how will your faith help you in that situation?
My faith helps me in that situation because that's that man. That ain't me. I ain't worried about him. At the end of the day, he ain't paying my bills. He ain't doing anything I need to get done. And it's the same thing in faith. I'm not going to worry about, if I see somebody out there doing wrong, I might say, hey, bro, you might want to chill or whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to invest a whole lot of my thoughts and everything into him because I need to tend to me. I need to tend to what I need to do to make it. So he coming late. Whatever gonna happen to him, gonna happen to him. Just like in faith, hey, I'm gonna tend to me and I'm gonna keep praying and do what I got to do because I'm worried about at the end of my life and on my judgment day, I can't turn around and say him or him or him because it's just gonna be me standing in front of my law.
Mm. You talked about how you're in your life, like between birth and death, that you just want to keep things simple. You just want a goat in a garden.
Yeah, that's simple.
I like
That's
that.
simple. You know, I'm. That's how I learned how to be because I've I've been out and I've done things and I've seen people do things and you know I've seen the scramble and the hustle. I've seen people drive themselves crazy trying to do elaborate things and all, but then it's all cool. But for me in my journey, I learned that simple. You know what I'm saying? Keep it simple.
Simplicity is key.
That's right. Keep it simple. I don't need. I mean, I I was reading a book and it said, you are the slave to the things that you own. For example, if you got a big old house and you got big old house payments, you a slave to that house
Yep.
because you got to keep working and going and doing for this house.
Mhm.
So if you keep it simple, you know,
And like me, here I am. I want a jet plane. I want a Ferrari, a big mansion. Maybe not here in the States, maybe in the Caribbean islands. And then have a big paycheck and then have a bank account that's in Europe. Therefore, my money won't be taxed. But here I am talking about simplicity, and I have all these big
But
expectations.
it ain't nothing wrong with having big dreams. You got to dream big sometimes. But when you dream big, keep it simple.
How will you do that?
Okay, you want a Ferrari. How you gonna get a Ferrari? You
Marry
gonna
someone rich?
marry somebody. All right, there you go. You just kept it simple right there. All you gotta do, hey, I'll marry somebody rich. It's the simplest thing you can do to get that Ferrari.
Oh, but all jokes aside, I understand what you're saying. You got to keep it simple and have realistic expectations,
Yeah.
or
That's-
else you're just living a fantasy, right?
yeah, you live in a fool's dream.
The Japanese have a saying that in order to make your dreams a reality, you have to wake up. And I think that's true from what you're saying. You keep it simple, yet the sky's the limit. Keep dreaming, but also you work towards what you want to see happen and achieved in your life, right?
Yeah, you just keep it simple. Like I told my man, he's like, man, I want a Cadillac. I said, yeah, I want a Cadillac too, and I got a Cadillac.
Why a Cadillac? Why not dream of a European car or a Japanese?
Cause I'm from the South. That's what we do. Chevys and Cadillac. Little town I'm from. That's what we do. Chevys and Cadillacs.
Why? You just dropped it. What did they do? They drop it low for the Chevys or the Cadillacs, and you just ride smooth and.
Nah, Cadillacs you keep it clean.
Okay, okay.
Box Chevy, you got a donkey. You got to put the rims, everything, get it nice
Call
and
it a
clean.
donkey?
Donk.
Oh,
You know,
dunk.
you gotta get it clean, do what you gotta do to it. But my point is, I told him I want a Cadillac,
Hmm?
and I went and got a Cadillac.
Like a newer, like model or an old model of a Cadillac?
An older model Cadillac.
Why?
Because it's all about keeping it simple and not being a slave to this Cadillac. If I wouldn't got a new Cadillac, I'd have had to put new money on it. I'd had to either make payments on it, but I wouldn't got a
Yeah.
Cadillac that I dropped all cash for, and now I don't owe nobody nothing for, and it rides like a dream. So to me, hey, my dream just got made. I got a Cadillac.
You got a Muhammad Ali here. The sting like a butterfly. How does it go? Smooth like a Cadillac.
Flying
Oh,
like a
God.
butterfly, sting like a bee.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's it.
So that's all it is about keeping it simple. I got a Cadillac. It's very dependable. I can get in it, crank it up, drive it every day. It's clean. It's a Cadillac.
And the maintenance isn't a problem either, because
Yeah.
everything's simple.
And it's all simple. And and I can do everything myself. So I don't really have to rely on nobody for this Cadillac but Allah.
Hmm. And so, what's interesting is that I found you praying in the mosque here on ODU. What inspires you to come to ODU to pray with the students here?
What inspired me here is, like I said, it actually it ties into my whole journey because I've been somewhere everywhere, and the people I came up with, I thought I could go and, it'll be all good, hunky-dory, we all just shake hands and it'll be good. But I got turned away. But I learned early in life, you can't go on people. You just got to go on faith. So when I went to find Miles and, people that knew me and, some of the things I done turned me away. And I came here and the first guy I met, I talked to, I had some tears in my eyes because I was really trying, And I told him, I said, man, I just want to pray. I just want to be a better Muslim because I understand. And all he said was, here go the combination to the door and turn the lights off when you finish. And that touched me so much because that's what being a Muslim is about.
And basically, it's not always being there physically, but just providing a way to help you find your own journey.
Yeah.
Interesting. And he really did that? He just gave you the combination?
He
And let you
really
pray?
did that. He ain't asked me no questions. He ain't take me through no hoops. He said, if you can come here and pray. If you can come here and pray, he'll go to combination to the door. And we just ask you to turn the lights off when you leave. And that touched me so much, man. It broke me down, I was so humbled just by that after being turned away from people that knew me.
I think that's what hurts the most, to have, like, trust and the people that you think you can depend on, and the people that are closest to us, and when they turn away, that's what hurts the most, because you thought one thing about them, and they showed you another side of them.
Yeah, so that's why I say, you can't go off people. And that was part of my downfall in the beginning, having too much faith in people. So when I took took that pleasure, I would say, away from people of having faith in them, and simply went on my journey
Mm-hmm.
and put my faith in Allah all the way. That's when I realized how much better things are.
Interesting. So, what I'm curious about are your actions. So, what motivates you to do an action? Is it because of um, it makes you feel better, or are you doing it because there's a need?
I mean, it does make me feel good when I do help somebody, but at the end of the day, I
Can
want
you
my
talk closer to the mic?
yeah, it does make me feel better when I do help people out. But at the end of the day, I'm trying to get my blessings. I'm trying to get my good deeds in. Because, like I said, at the end of the day, I'm just trying to go to heaven. So I'm trying to get my good deeds in. And I know, you know, if I have money in my pocket, but hey, man, you got $5? Let me see. If I got $5, yeah, I got $5. Man, here you go, $5. Because guess what? This ain't my money anyway.
But you worked hard and you earned it.
But if it wasn't for Allah, I wouldn't have it.
Interesting. And so, what do you hope your kids will learn from you when they grow up? Or what are you planting in them?
For my kids, I just want them to be good human beings to start with, And as long as they know they saw me do good and do right, and they knew my faith and everything, I understand that they're going to have their own journeys to go on as they grow up. And all I could do is help guide them, help teach them something good and rightful. So when they're on their journeys, they know, it doesn't have to be all hard. And they
Mm-hmm.
always have somebody and somewhere to come to at the end of their journey that's never going to turn them away.
Would you say that you're more like, when you go bowling and you have the gutter rail up?
Yeah.
Are you more like a gutter rail for your kids when they're going down the bowling aisle? Or are you just going to let them learn from their mistakes as well?
Nah, I tell my son all the time, look, I done made all these mistakes, so you ain't got to.
Yeah.
you know,
Just look at my life, right?
I know you're going to go out there and do your own thing and maybe try to think you hide stuff from me, but, I done did all this before, so, if you're going to make a mistake, don't make a mistake I made. And if you make a mistake, own up to it. No excuses.
Mm-hmm. And the Chinese say, I know I quote a lot from Asian cultures, but I don't know. They have a lot of wise sayings, and I like it.
Oh no, don't worry. I like read. I like Asian culture too.
Yeah.
Like I read Tao Te Ching, and that's
What
like
about Sun Tzu? Have you read Sun Tzu?
oh yes, I love Sun Tzu, the
Oh,
Art of
he's
War,
amazing.
everything, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And I read the one book I read on the shortness of life by
I haven't seen
Seneca.
that. I haven't read that. I think I'd like to read that one day.
Yeah, that's a good book too. Like I said, turn off the TV, give me some books.
I
I'm
know,
read.
yeah. So, this quote from the Chinese culture, it goes, if you want to know how to go a certain direction, ask those who came from that direction. And it kind of like makes sense to what you were saying about your son. Like, if he's going to make a mistake or go down that road, why not ask you about it, because you've already been there.
Yeah.
And a lot of, like what you said earlier, you have to keep things simple. And the more you complicate things, the more it shows that you don't know about it. And it makes sense about the quote that I just said. Like, why are you going to ask someone about going somewhere if they haven't been themselves? And so it will be wrong for me to be able to talk about Islam, the faith Islam, if I've never been down that path or like practice it in any way. No?
Yeah. But the thing about that quote is you know, are you gonna believe the person that you asked about going down that path?
And there's another thing you brought up a good point. It's not about going down the path. It's about the evidence that they've been down that path. And I know of this story. This guy, he tries to run away from God, whatever. So he goes down the Tarshish. You know, I can't say the name of the places right. I should know how to say the places right. And so he tries to run away, and he tries to get on the boat in the Mediterranean Sea. And so he's on this boat, and then there's a huge, big storm. It comes up, and the people get all scared, and they all started to pray to their own gods. And so they're like, you know what? Someone on this boat did something wrong. We're going to draw lots to see who it is. So they did some ancient lot drawing, whatever you call it. They drew lots, and it fell on this person. And they're like, you are wrong. We're going to throw you overboard. They took the guy, threw him overboard, and this big fish came and swallowed him. And so he was in this belly of this big fish for about 3 days, and then he spat him out on land. And then he had to go to where God told him to go, which is Nineveh. I think I said it right, Nineveh. And so when he gets to Nineveh, he told the people the message that his God told him to tell him. And kind of like what you said, it's not about just asking people who've been on the journey, and then I added, is that you have to see the evidence that they've been on the journey. And the reason why I told this story is because when he went to go tell this message to the people, they knew that he's been somewhere, but the evidence that he's been in the belly of the fish, or whatever you want to call it, is that he had this horrendous smell that came with him. Like he's out in the desert, so there's no water. He couldn't wash. So I imagine that the big whale had some other fish food that he had in his belly. So he swam around in fish guts and, fish stuff. And so he smelled like fish. And so what's interesting about that culture as well is that they worship the fish god. So for him to be spit up by the god that they worship came to show them that there must be someone that's more powerful than their God for him to conquer their fish god.
Yeah.
So it's not about just going down the journey, but the evidence that you have to show that you've been on the journey.
Yeah. So I said, if I ask somebody about going down the road, if I said, man, you just came down that road, yeah, how was that road? And they say, yeah, man, well, it's a little shaky, but it's the best way to get there. I'm gonna pray to Allah, safe travels. I'm gonna go on my faith, because I know what's meant to be is gonna be.
That is true. And it reminds me of what I quote a lot from people I know. I don't want to say a lot of their names, but he talks about scars. Scars just show that you're able to survive a tragic event, but it also tells a story, not only that you're a survivor, but of what you've been through. And what would you say about that?
I would say a fool has bandages, a wise man has scars. A wise man had few scars. Because a fool is going to keep going out there and getting hurt, requiring bandages. But a wise man only has a few scars because when he got the one, he learned. And he didn't do it again.
Man, I learned so much when I was little. When I was little, I remember my mom told me, she was like, okay, Shiver, don't touch this, what was it? A curling iron. And I was like, okay, Mommy, I won't touch it. And I knew just as soon as she went around the corner that I was going to touch it. I didn't understand the concept of hot, danger, or anything. And I had my mindset, and I was like, I'm going to touch this hot curling iron. And when she went around the corner, I grabbed the curling iron, grabbed it in my hand, and I dropped it right on the back of my leg. And you're right. I learned from that point on to listen to my mom when she says to not touch something because it's hot. And it only took me one time to get burned. So this is interesting. Do you want to break?
Oh, I'm all right. That's the only thing I'm about to go back. I got to go back and pray, but that's about it.
Okay. We have about 20 minutes. Are you okay with that? It's 6:40.
I'll ride with you for a little bit longer.
Yes. Okay. And then a little bit longer. And so, um, one of the things that I wrote down that I wanted to talk about as well. Does the this does the Islamic faith really teach on consequences, or do they mostly value principles and virtue?
I mean, it's a lot about principles and virtues, but they also teach about consequences too, because for every action is a reaction, you know, and it does talk about, the consequences of not doing, what you're supposed to do, and it also talks about the consequences, not, I wouldn't say consequence, but the benefits of doing what you're supposed to do, the rewards and everything. So, it's teaches about all of that, virtues, principles, and the consequences.
Are the consequences what motivates people to do right?
For some, it is, but what motivates a lot of people to do right is the reward, and that's just with anything. If you got a nice, goldy, shiny reward you're gonna get for doing something you're gonna do, and at the hind end of it, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, you're gonna get a whooping. Which would you prefer? So most people cling on to the reward, and I see the reward in this, so I'm gonna do this. And after a while, once you start going towards the reward and you do more for the reward, you forget about the consequences because you enjoy where you're going so much.
Is there any point where people don't care about the reward, or they just do whatever it is just because? Is there an ever a just because moment within the faith?
I won't, well, I can't speak for everybody, but it's not really a just because moment. I'm doing this just because. It's like now when I pray because I want to and not just because.
Well, not necessarily with prayer or talking with God, but with the rewards and consequences. Speaking to you personally, do you ever do an action just because you want to? Not just because you want to, but there's no motive behind it. You're not concerned about the reward, you're not concerned about the consequences. Do you just ever do an action just regardless of what benefits you get or consequences you get from it?
Yeah, sometimes I do. Sometimes I'm just, here you go. If I'm just if it's something good, sometimes I don't think about the reward or whatever. I just do it because, like, here, let me spot you. Oh, all right, man, I got you. I'm about to be there in a minute. I don't think about it. But when it comes to doing something on the negative end, it's always crossed my mind of the consequences of what could happen for doing this.
I guess sometimes when I see something negative, it depends on how big the negative is. But what about a white lie to protect someone? Would that be seen as a negative?
It just depends on the white lie. If you gonna prevent something devastating, like mass shooting or somebody dying or something like that, if it's a little white lie, hey, I'll tell you now, I done told a little white lie too to prevent somebody from dying. And it felt better on my soul to know I helped that man from not dying than telling a lie.
So that ends justifying the means.
I said in some minute circumstances, but just to tell a little white lie because I want to be out all night and I want an old girl to know it's not, and those ain't necessary lies because I believe in being honest because you know that's what my faith requires me to be honest. But when it comes down to, man, I know right now if I tell this dude the truth, he gonna go in there and kill about 4 or 5 dudes. So I'm gonna tell him this a little white lie and have some peace and let that man go on by his way and calm his head down.
Interesting. That's a good perspective to see it. Oh well, it's already 6:45, and you probably have to go back and do more
Yeah,
praying.
I gotta get my prayer in. That's what keep me going, baby.
All right. And I want to appreciate you, Ali, right?
Yeah.
For being here.
All right. Anytime. I'm glad I can come help you out today. Ain't no
Yes.
problem.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
And let's see. I think I'm going to wrap it up, even though I have about 14 minutes left. And is it okay if I take a picture with you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
I don't mind.
Where's my phone? And if you all wouldn't mind, follow me. I'm on Instagram at Journer Student. So I'm taking a picture for my Instagram to promote this.
All right. She's brave because I'd be paranoid when people follow me.
Well,
It's an Instagram joke.
all right, let's see. Camera. Where? It's not working now. Is your hair okay? All right, your cat.
You know, my poop, you gotta make sure the poopy all straight.
Yay! Thank you. That's a good picture. I like it.
All right.
Okay, so I have 13 minutes left. Is there any last remarks that you would like to say before you go?
I say all I can tell people is from my experience. And when I see a lot of people talking about religions and faiths and all that, I tell you, go take your own journey. Don't take it from nobody because people only gonna tell you from their experience, and that's what I've been through. Cause I've studied Confucianism, Bible. I've read all of them, and at the end of the day, being a Muslim, you know, having Islam as my religion is the truth for me from what I've studied and done on my own personal work and not getting a word from nobody, you know. So go find the truth for yourself. Read for yourself and you'll find the truth.
It's about what works for you and what's effective in your own life. Yes, I think I summed it up and I got it. And so I'll keep that in mind, and thank you for being here with me today.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
So how do I say bye?
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Wa alaikum salam. Okay. Isn't it there a difference between how females would say it and how men would say it?
Nah, that's all I say. Assalamu
Okay.
alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
All right. Peace. All right. So this is the end. 11 minutes left. I know I'm counting it down. But let's see. What else could I do or talk about? As you can tell, I'm in my uniform. I just got off work and I had to hear everything come by. And I love doing shows like this because I get to learn from people, and that's what this show is about. It's about being able to learn from the people here in the community, the ODU campus, and to learn how to put in practice what I'm learning in my classes. So I want to thank everyone who turned in to this broadcast. And I'm going to head out now. If I can see how to do it. So, hello, hello. Okay. Peace out. Bye.